Welcome back to Great Day. November is Native American Heritage Month. Many people of Mexican heritage share that culture as well. Before the Europeans came, Mexico was already home to many tribes, including the Aztec and Mayan civilizations. Chef Pyet DeSpain celebrates her heritage through food. She was the first ever winner of Gordon Ramsay's Next Level Chef, creating dishes she describes as indigenous fusion cuisine. Her new book, Rooted in Fire, a celebration of Native American and Mexican cooking, is now available for pre-order. Pyet invites everyone to experience the flavors of her community. Good morning, Pyet.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. Let's start with your name. Growing up, there are about 40 Deborahs in all of my classrooms. You are probably the only Pyet. Explain what's behind your name and what it means.
Yeah, definitely. My full name is Pyet Wet'mokwe. It is my Native American given name, so I go by Pyet for short. And it's a name that was given to me and passed down from generation to generation from my great grandmother. So that's how I got my name, Pyet Wet'mokwe, and I shortened it for Pyet, and it loosely translates to something loud, like coming over the mountains towards you.
All right. And you did that with food for sure. You grew up hunting, eating wild game. Also, you have deep roots in the Mexican heritage. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of overlap right there. But when you grew up eating that way, when we talk about farm to table, it's like it didn't take very long for it to get to the table, did it?
No, absolutely not. Luckily, I had a grandfather that he hunts quite a bit every year. He provides deer meat for my mom for her birthday because her birthday is the end of November. So that's hunting season in Kansas. And so we oftentimes ate a lot of deer meat and wild game growing up. So that's something that was at the time growing up wasn't so, I didn't have the realization of how much of a privilege that was until now as I'm an adult. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty special.
Yeah, and something else is pretty special because a lot of us go throughout life and don't quite know where we came from or what our heritage and culture is. Much easier today now that we have a lot of the DNA things that can tell us. But you have such a varied culture and you were very aware of it because your parents could share that with you. Your mom is Native American, Spanish, and Italian. And then she was adopted by a Croatian woman and a Mexican man.
Yeah, I mean, I have a very dynamic background. Luckily, I do have the gift of understanding and knowing where I come from. My mom was adopted, as you mentioned, so she later on reconnected with her indigenous parents when she was pregnant with me. So I got to be born into this really special time of my mom's life. So luckily I had the solid upbringing from both my Native American and my Mexican American side. And that's something that really roots me and grounds me in a lot of things that I do, hence the name of my book, Rooted in Fire. So there's lots of storytelling in this book about my journey, reconnecting myself, but also my mom's journey of reconnecting with her indigeneity. And especially, as you mentioned, in a time like now, people are so curious about where they come from. And it's always nice to know exactly where you come from and feel that sense of belonging, because that always helps us know where we're going in life, you know?
Yeah. All right. I want to know what you're cooking right now.
Yeah, so I am cooking a Three Sisters salad. Now, the Three Sisters are beans, corn, and squash. All of these ingredients are super special and amazing together. They're the perfect protein, but also they have really sustained this indigenous folks from both sides of the border. And I felt this was the perfect opportunity for me to really do some storytelling, but also fuse both of my heritages together. Now, when we think about Native American food, a lot of people are kind of puzzled. They're not sure what exactly that is or what that means.
Yeah, even though we've been eating a lot of it from the beginning, right? but a lot of us have always been eating it. And it's like, oh, I didn't realize that was Native American.
Yeah, exactly. So I do my best in this book to really try to mend and mold all of these ingredients together in a way that's friendly and inviting so folks can learn more about indigenous foods of the Americas.
Yeah. At what point did you decide that you wanted this to be your livelihood? Because I every time I interview chefs, there's one group that says, always knew from the start that this was my career and they were going to head off to culinary school. Others would say, it was my passion, but I didn't know my passion could be my career, so it took me a minute.
Yeah, as my early adulthood, I had family members that owned restaurants, so I didn't really see it as a calling for me. I saw them really struggle with kind of keeping the doors open at their local restaurants. But I really took a liking to learning other cuisines and cultures through their cuisine. And then I started kind of asking myself, like, oh, well, is this a potential career choice? Because I had a friend that recommended culinary school, and I did not see that in the books for me. I did a tour of a local cooking school and a culinary school, and I was really intrigued by all of the different spices and sauces and their curriculum of regional cuisines. And I decided to go ahead and just, take a shot. And I signed up for classes that same day, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it's one of the top career choices among young people today. And there are so many different areas to be in. You can work in restaurants, you can be a personal chef. One of the things that you did is you got certified in wellness and nutrition, which we know is in the headlines right now.
Yeah, definitely. I've always been super passionate about health and wellness, and luckily the food that I cook is really coincides with that. But the personal chef route was more so my route. I am at heart an entrepreneur. I like to be as creative as I want, take as many clients on as I want, get to travel, and also be able to tell the beautiful stories that I like through my food in a personal, intimate setting with my clients. And I felt that that was the most impactful place for me. And now I'm entering the era now where I'm like, maybe a restaurant could be coming soon, but I'm still very much so enjoying the private chef world, the private events, and of course, now a cookbook author.
Yeah, and we love the cookbook because it's almost like we have you as a private chef in our home right there, because how you laid it out. It's one thing to have a book with just the recipes, but when you have those stories there as well, you speak to the importance of food. Houston is the most, diversity in the country, and we see a lot of that in our food as well. Food tells a story.
Absolutely. It tells so many stories, and now you have the option now of being able to hear multiple stories in one plate, like the beans, the corn, the squash. As I mentioned earlier, a very important recipe. This tells the story of the three sisters, which collectively together, they grow together, they thrive together. And I like to use that same method and that mindset of how I am in my community. Together we thrive and we all support one another. So it's super special to be able to hear those stories and the representation of the creator, of the chef, quite literally on the plate.
Yeah, you were the first ever winner of Next Level Chef, and I love watching all those competition shows. But you came up with something that was unique, and that was going back to the indigenous fusion that you talked about. A lot of times people will say, okay, are those shows really reality? There are some shows where they do some editing and tweak a bit. The cooking shows seem to be pretty close to the real deal. You got some heat in the kitchen, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. It was an amazing experience. I do it over again. I have been on a few other shows like Tournament of Champions, and there's other shows coming out to look forward to, but that environment is very crazy, very hectic, but also it's very fun to be able to be on those platforms. But it is unscripted, so everything that happens definitely is real, and I can vouch for that 100%. And yeah, it was a crazy experience, and it opened so many opportunities for me.
Yeah, speaking of opening opportunities, your book opens opportunities for us to shop in different places in the grocery store than we may have been used to, because you have some key ingredients like venison, wild salmon, bison, dandelion greens, sunchokes, things like that people might not be used to shopping for. What do you say to people to challenge them to shop outside of their normal palate?
I say definitely be adventurous in life. I know there's a lot of folks that really like to stay in their lane, and they have their favorite flavors and things that they're their go-tos, which are fantastic and amazing. But we live in such a diverse world, and especially here in America, there's so many different cuisines and cultures that are celebrated. But the one culture that we don't really see celebrated as much as others is the Native American food in the grocery stores. And so we have Hispanic food aisles. We obviously have our Asian products that we can choose from. But when people are walking around the grocery store, they don't really realize some of the stories that come along with how are these foods here today. And we think about indigenous foods, we think about pre-settlers, that influence on what we have now on our plates. But a lot of these ingredients, like the beans, the corn, squash example, that these have beautiful stories, and they're here today because of the indigenous people and the knowledge and the care that they've taken with those. And so I really love to tell people, like, hey, really think about where your food comes from. Just like you and I, we have our stories of where we were born, where we've migrated to, our journeys. Our food has these same stories, and I really try to encourage folks to really think about that and do some research and some digging and be adventurous and try new things and step outside of that comfort zone. There's so much beauty in the unknown.
Yeah, and lastly, for all those young people who would like to go into this business, a culinary world, for their living, what's your best advice?
My best advice is be as authentic as you possibly can. That's one thing that has really benefited me. I've done lots of different things as a private chef and an entrepreneur. And the one thing that really brings me the most passion, that allows me to continue to do the work, because it's long hours. As an entrepreneur, it's not an easy route, as a lot of people will tell you. But the one thing that really, really grounds me is my purpose, my why, and it's always boils down to my community, to my family, representing myself, being authentic. Having a voice in a space is very important, and really just being authentic and true to yourself, especially when it comes to food. You know, find something that is your calling and stick with it.
All right, Pyet, there's just one thing that's bothering me right now, and that is I cannot taste what you just made. So I'm going to have to live vicariously through you. I want you to taste it for me. I want to watch it. I'm going to pretend that I am also tasting the same thing. All right, go ahead, taste it for me.
I'll definitely taste it. This is like a confetti of colors here.
Yes, look at that right there. Okay, in fact, can you give me a, I'm going to go this way. Give me a little forkful there, right there.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, let's say if you serve me, just take the fork and put it. Yeah. Okay. Now serve me. Put it right over to my side there. Is it to your left or to your right? All right. We'll have to figure that out some other time. But anyway, thank you very, very much for sharing your life story with us as much as you could in the little amount of time. But we get much more of it out of your new cookbook. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right. Pyet DeSpain's new book, Rooted in Fire, a celebration of Native American and Mexican cooking, is available for pre-order online and will be released everywhere books are sold on November 18th. For more information, visit greatdayhouston.com and we will connect you.